Somebody was dancing to that, what's her name, Young Barbecue. She was dancing to that on a Black Lives Matter street mural. And she was dancing, and the camera panned out and it said Black Lives Matter. And this song, I still listen to this song to this day to put me in a good mood. Yeah, it's my song. I still listen to it in the shower. It really puts me in a good mood, really puts me in whatever frequency that song was made on. It puts the diva in such a good mood. So go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment, and let the diva know you stopped by. Today we're just gonna have, it probably is a little bit of serious conversation, just some commentary talking about Meg Thee Stallion and what's happening with her. And she came down to Instagram and did a live, and I saw somebody, several people sent it to me, and I watched it. It was really hard to watch because, oh my God, when she said, imagine being 25 with no parents and you wanting to be around people so that you can get the love that that you would need from someone like a mother or a father or just family, someone who loves you, it made me feel bad for her. And what I think is happening, or what I know is happening with her at 25 years old, no matter how much money she makes or not, she's learning that people who say that they're your friends are not. She's learning that the people that she has around her should probably not be around her. And, she was trying. The one thing that also stuck out to me was the fact that this black woman, this young black woman, right? Because we know that the frontal lobe of the brain does not finish developing until around 25 years old on male and female humans. On humans, period. Okay? There's no difference. I know we like to say little like boys don't grow faster than girls. So, you know how I say the excuse is embedded into the existence? It starts that young, right? Boys don't develop as fast as girls. They're a little bit more immature than girls and all that stuff, right? The fact that this young 25-year-old girl is sitting there discussing her trauma and is trying her best to remain strong and not show any weakness, when at the same time there are people rationalizing her trauma and what happened to her in a way that she's not feminine enough. She's big, she's a big girl, or she's tall, right? She's a stallion, right? So at the same time, she's afraid to show weakness, vulnerability, crying, tears. She's afraid to do that. She doesn't want to appear weak. But at the same time, that same idea is being used against her, right? And it's often used against women, especially black women. And if the black woman is of a darker complexion, she's automatically turned into this masculine being, right? She's so masculine, right? And with Tory Lanez being what is reported as, well, I'll just say under 5'5", okay, probably has an issue with being deemed as emasculine because he's short, right? Because part of masculinity is being tall and dark and handsome, right? And it made me sad. It made me sad that she didn't want to cry, and that she was trying to stay strong. And it's that same strength that she was trying to exude for fear of looking weak is what people are using to rationalize the violence that was committed against her. She shared with us that she was shot in both feet. And I know that the foot is just full of bones. Some doctors say that you will break bones in your foot and not even know it, because that's where there's a large amount of bones in the foot. If you look at a skeleton, you can see it for yourself. Another thing that she did that I felt bad is that she tried to make it seem like she was not the cause of the violence committed against her, because oftentimes, that's another thing, when a woman is abused, whether it is on the street by strangers, whether it's domestically, people try to rationalize that and say that, well, she did something to me, right? And when I keep hearing people say that and trying to make it seem like she's this big masculine woman, therefore violence against her can be rationalized from that point. Twice that I have been in domestic violence situations where, with my son's father, he describes me when he retells the story, and describes me as a big girl, right? When at the time of my assault, he's about 6'4" and a half, 6'4", and at the time he was about 270, maybe almost 300 pounds. I was 7 days postpartum, 5'5" and a half, and 190 pounds. And he rationalizes it. When he tells people the story, he rationalizes it as she's a big girl, right? Oh, I forgot. His occupation, he was a bouncer at, what's the club down there? The Compound in Atlanta. So you're a bouncer, 6'4", almost 300 pounds, and you're trying to rationalize to other people who will accept it, because look how people are doing Meg. I understand what's happening with her. You're a 6'4", 300 pound bouncer, and you hit a woman in the mouth with a closed fist twice to bust her lip. 7 days postpartum, my body has not finished healing or anything. And that's how you rationalize it. And people will accept that story. Because yes, I am a big girl. And yes, I did hit you back. Because even though I do come from a family where both paternal and maternal sides, women were abused by their domestic partners, I'll hit you back. I'm not going to stand there. In the second instance that I was in with my brother, this is my biological brother. We share parents. In his assault, where he was the aggressor and walked about 15 feet to get to me, past my father, who didn't turn around to help or didn't stop him. He walked past him, walked around the island into the kitchen where I was. If you have been following me anytime on YouTube, you've heard me tell this story over and over again when it's relevant to what's going on in the world. And he tells the story and he says, I kicked at him. You are an aggressor. And you are telling people she kicked at me. So I guess I was just supposed to stand there and let you choke me until my eyes rolled into the back of my head, until Kyle came and grabbed him off of me and my cousin, while my father sat there and did nothing. So I was supposed to just let you hit me. Do you understand? So when people say, oh, well, she tried to fight him. Well, maybe she did try to fight him, but does that justify? What if she was defending herself? Does that justify him shooting her in the foot? How do you rationalize that? And he tells the story over and over again. And I don't understand why anyone wouldn't be like, well, if you were running towards her, what do you think she was supposed to do as you approached her? Was she just supposed to stand there and allow her body to be violated? Allow her agency to be violated? Or was she supposed to, as any human with the capacity to understand that they are in danger, defend themselves? So I know what Megan is going through, and I'm sure there's other women that will probably get down in these comments and say that a man or anybody who abused them was trying to rationalize them their abuse and their aggression towards this person because that girl was a big girl. And they'll try to make you seem masculine in order to say, that's the reason why I hit her. She's masculine. She's like me. She's masculine. That's why you got the transphobic jokes saying that Tory Lanez saw Megan's penis. We don't know whether or not Megan Thee Stallion is trans or not. You know why? That's none of our goddamn business. But the way she has presented herself, as she presents herself as a cisgender heterosexual woman. So for people to say that, well, if he saw her penis, then that would rationalize him shooting her. This is where violence against trans people come in to play. And this is why cis black women and black trans women are in the same boat, right? Because you have a mutual aggressor or a mutual enemy. And we hate to use that as a parallel on how black women, cis black women and black trans women are the same, but that's part of it. When they talk about the violence committed against them, you can see how immediately it was rationalized that, oh, well, Tory Lanez saw Megan Thee Stallion's penis, so that's why he shot her. That's the same thing that they use when they are caught with a trans woman and they want to eliminate her existence because that will make them seem whatever way they think that they'll look to society. Because we have issues with gay people and trans people in our society. We do, in case you've been under a rock. Then you have the jokes. And you have jokes coming from the likes of 50 Cent, which he came out and apologized to her. We already got on Drea's ass. And Drea had an immediate consequence to her behavior. Her behavior was sitting there in a room with men and likened Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion to one of the most toxic relationships we've ever been a witness to, Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston, two people who were addicted to drugs. You are liking it and romanticizing that situation, and then said she would want it done to her. For someone to love her that deeply, to cause harm and inflict harm on her and possibly maim her. So as a result of her behavior, which I think was equitable, is that she lost her job with Savage Fenty, which is Rihanna's lingerie line, who she was a model for. And Meg is also a model for them as well. She was let go. That's the rumor. What's her name hasn't confirmed it, but Megan Thee Stallion posted a letter or a note with some flowers from Rihanna and her team saying, "We hope you get well." Rihanna being a victim of domestic violence at a young age, also those things were rationalized. Those things were rationalized. I think I even rationalized it by saying she was fighting him. She was fighting him. Not even realizing that maybe she was defending herself. Why did she bit him or whatever? The bottom line is she was a victim of domestic violence. Has she since forgiven Chris Brown and done songs with him? Yes, but I'm sure she doesn't want jokes made about that. And they continue to make jokes about Rihanna and Chris Brown. So Drea was let go from her position. Why? What do I always tell you guys? When you get down on these TVs and down to Twitter and Facebook and you have your job, you represent your job in some way, and you say something that goes against the values and mission, core values and mission of the people that you work for, you probably get let go of from your job. Making jokes about domestic violence, and I'm thinking the jokes are present because it's almost like she fell. You realize she was okay, and now you're laughing about it. You're laughing about the fall. Well, this is not the same. But I think that's where kind of where you could kind of see like, well, she's okay, so I'm going to make a joke about it. 50 Cent, a person who was shot 9 times, said that he actually, let me just bring it up. And he said, damn, I didn't think this shit was real. It sounded so crazy. I'm glad you're feeling better, and I hope you can accept my apology. I posted a meme that was floating around. I wouldn't have done that if I knew you was really hurt. Sorry, with this emoji like this. So 50 Cent is going to sit there, and that's a lie, because number one, nigga, you were shot 9 times. 9 times. Based on your behavior in society and in our culture, I could really rationalize what happened to you. I can, but I won't. You didn't see footage of Megan Thee Stallion being stopped by the cops with a helicopter hovering over the car with red and blue lights going. I'm sure those look familiar to you. You know what those look like. You know that's not a joke when you see those, right? And then you also saw Megan Thee Stallion hop out of the car, walking backwards as a trail of blood dripped from her feet. You didn't know she was really hurt? She was shot twice. You was shot 9 times. Were you really hurt after the second time you got shot? After the second bullet? Were you hurt? I don't believe him, nor do I accept that apology. It's not mine to accept. I think he's full of shit. I do. Just hilarious. Just not and has never been hilarious. Chrissy Teigen. All of these jokes going around at the expense of this young girl who doesn't have her mother. She doesn't have her father. She has people around her who she, based on her expression, cannot even really trust. Fuck those fake friends who are out here giving stories. She can't even trust these people. And yet she has her community, and no man in hip hop has come out and spoke against the violence committed against her. Why? Because in hip hop, the culture is, I won't say solely, but partially based on objectifying women, committing acts of violence, more so rape than gun violence against women. So I don't understand why no one has come out and said anything about Megan and about what has happened. Tory Lanez hasn't even come out and said anything. He hasn't posted, and he hasn't said any tweets. There hasn't been any posts on Instagram. And you know why he doesn't have to say anything? Because he has his community speaking up for him and rationalizing for him and defending him and misgendering Megan and rationalizing the violence that was committed against this black woman. It's really sad. And it's really sad. And then let's move on, since we're in the realm of hip hop. Let's move on to Talib Kweli, who harassed a black woman who made a comment about black men in hip hop being married to light-skinned and racially ambiguous women. And Talib Kweli went on a 15-day attack of this black woman on Twitter. Now, I used to follow Talib Kweli when this thing happened with this woman named Maya. I unfollowed him, and I also blocked him, and I reported the tweets that he was harassing her. And eventually Twitter had removed Talib Kweli off of Twitter because of the reports, the evidence of him attacking her, in addition to not him just attacking her, but his community of men who were also attacking her and his fans attacking her. Once he got deleted or suspended and removed from Twitter, he took his attacks and his harassment to Instagram and then continued to tell lies about this woman, all because she responded to a tweet where his name was present and other rappers were in there. I think it was Snoop Dogg was in there. I could find the tweet. Here we go. Jay-Z, somebody said, what rapper married a black woman besides Snoop? Jay-Z, Papoose, Chance the Rapper, Bun B, 2 Chainz, Gucci Mane, T.I., Ice Cube, LL Cool J, Kendrick Lamar, Ludacris, Paul Wall, J. Cole, Kevin Gates, Will Smith, Big Boy, Killer Mike, Ja Rule, Talib Kweli, and Method Man. Then the woman came back and said, well, out of those women, who are light-skinned and racially ambiguous? And Talib Kweli took that as a personal attack and decided that he was going to defend himself. And he stayed and he attacked this woman for almost 3 weeks before they removed him off of Twitter. Then he took it to Instagram, and just based on the day before yesterday, he was on Facebook still talking about it. And not even the men in the tweet have came out and said, yo, bruh, cut it out. You look crazy. Like I said on Twitter, I said, I don't know what dosage of Adderall Talib Kweli has been prescribed, but he's too focused on teetering on obsession with attacking this black woman without consequence and recourse from his own community. I'm not talking about Twitter. I'm talking about from the hip-hop community. The same hip-hop community who's not speaking up for Meg Thee Stallion. No rapper has come out and spoke up for her. Hey, y'all, stop the jokes. Megan Thee Stallion has had to come out on her own. Tory Lanez has not said anything. She has to come out and say, hey, guys, I was shot in the foot. I didn't do anything to deserve it. Can you imagine you having to tell people, I was shot, but I didn't do anything to deserve it? And then the fact that she's not saying anything, she hasn't mentioned him, she hasn't said anything, because like me, in both situations where the cops should have been called, or the cops were, I've tried to diffuse the situation, because you don't want to be, a black woman does not want to be on the other end of bringing down a black man. Evelyn Lozada gets that for telling on Chad. She gets that. You brought down a black man. That's what Tammy Roman told her. So no matter the type of violence that's committed against you, whether it's verbal, physical, gun violence, if you say anything about this black man, girl, you already know what's about to happen. Now you are a part of the problem. Not only are white bitches lying on them saying that they're being raped, not only are the cops beating them and standing on their necks, but now you, black woman, even though violence was committed against you, you have the job of protecting this black man from ruining his career. Meanwhile, you, a person who twerks and needs her feet in order to dance, this person has shot you twice now, allegedly, in your feet. Same community who is not speaking out against Jay-Z, Papoose, Chance the Rapper, Bun B, 2 Chainz. Nobody has came out and told Talib Kweli, leave that girl alone. Leave that lady alone. Leave her alone. Who had to rally behind Maya? Other black women, and yes, some black men, and especially a lot of gay black men, were rallying and reporting and trying to get him. And there were other men saying, like, dude, cut it out. What are you doing? Cut it out. Why are you bothering her? Why are you harassing her? You're becoming obsessive, dude. This is crazy. Why are you doing this? Nobody with a platform large enough to get any traction has spoke out or spoke up for neither one of these black women. Jess Hilarious has got on and she decided she wants to make jokes about it. I don't know why she continues to thrive in, well, you know why? Because she's speaking. When you suffer from internalized misogyny, you tend to center men around your walk, around yourself. You center men, you center their plight before yours, you center their issues before yours. Whatever they do, you rationalize and you try to see it from their point of view first. You see it from the male's point of view most of the time. When in disagreements or in conflict, you tend to side with the man. Trust me, I know, I've been there. So Jess Hilarious is performing jokes against Meg the Stallion and making jokes about it. Chrissy Teigen making jokes. And like I said, I think part of it comes from the fact that she's okay, but she could walk with a limp now. You know what I mean? Like she said that there's no damage. She had surgery to get the bullets out, because if she was in a car and you're shooting down at somebody's feet, you know, anything could have happened to her. Anything could have happened to Megan. Like, and the fact that you were in this dangerous situation and you're trying to say, well, I didn't do anything to deserve it, guys, or not saying anything about the person who harmed her, not coming out against him, and then trying not to cry about it, trying to hold on to this strength, because, and it's crazy because it's a double-edged sword. While her strength, and like I said, that the strong black woman trope, I realized, and I was sharing on Twitter, I realized when that was a problem, when Trayvon Martin's mother was on television and did not shed one tear. And I sat there and I said, this woman's son was murdered. And she's not even crying. She can't even. She's so strong. She has to be so strong for these people that she can't even cry in public. And you see, there's a difference. Black women's tears mean you're weak. A white woman's tears mean we got to save her. We got to save her. Oh my gosh, she's in danger. We got to protect her. A black woman's tears means she's weak. That's why we have to remove that strong black woman trope and stop saying that. We know that we are strong, resilient people. Look at our ancestors and how we've been so resilient. We have, this country is doing whatever it can to pull us down, to keep us down, to keep pulling at us, and we keep rising, and we are resilient people. We know how strong we are. But when it comes time to speak up for black women who have been harmed, and 40% of black women will experience domestic violence against them in their lifetime. 40%. That's not cool. That's not cool. Fellas, I want you to ask the women in your family, have they ever been a victim, or if they are a survivor of domestic violence? And when I say domestic violence, I'm not talking about somebody actually hitting you. I'm talking about domestic violence with emotional, psychological, physical. I'm talking about all of that. Ask 100 women and 40 of them will tell you that they've been a victim of domestic violence. And I'm sure a great percentage of them will tell you that they did not want to tell the cops on their abuser because they were afraid of what would happen to them at the hands of cops. So it's where does a black woman get protection, right? As the gatekeepers of the culture, and the men who are supposed to be the protectors and the providers of that protection, right? We are the ones that are populating your communities, and yet and still violence is committed against us without consequence. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, she's not a black woman, but she is a Latinx woman. And like Kimberly Foster, I think it was Kimberly Foster said, she presents dainty, she presents feminine, she presents long straight hair, and yet and still she was accosted by Yoho on the floors, on the steps out there, called her a fucking bitch, and then went back into the floor and said, it was my passion, and I have daughters, and I'm married, and I'm so glad that she said, just because you stop using women as a shield while you simultaneously abuse them. I have a wife. Why would I abuse women? I have a daughter. Why would I abuse women? No. You don't, just because you have a daughter, just because you have a wife, does not make you a decent man. It doesn't. So while you simultaneously abuse women, you can't use them as a shield as you abuse other women. You just can't. And there are other women who are going to agree, well, like, she probably did something to him, rationalizing it. Why? Because their existence is centered around the approval and the affirming of a man. And that's the bottom line. Because there's no way as a woman could you ever say or rationalize violence against another woman. I don't care. You can't. The only way that you can rationalize the violence that was committed against Meg the Stallion is if she had another gun. That would be the only way. I'd be like, well, shit, she had another gun. Honey, he was fighting for his life. This is a woman who was half naked in the car. You saw her getting out the car. She barely had any clothes on. She just came from a pool party. So not only have you been shot, you are now half naked, getting out of the car, being humiliated at that by the cops, telling you to walk backwards as blood is dripping from your foot, and they tell you to lay on the ground in your half naked. Back to Talib Kweli. Talib Kweli, this is the woman's statement. She says she's been receiving online harassment from Talib Kweli and his bots because of this tweet. This tweet was made to address colorism and desirability politics within the black community, specifically amongst black entertainers. This was not an attempt to invalidate the blackness of light-skinned people, but to bring awareness to a well-known fact that black rappers, athletes, and entertainers prefer to date and marry light-skinned and non-black women. Why? Because there's a proximity to whiteness, and you want your woman, and the feminization of white women or light-skinned black women because they present feminine, right? Or the desirability. That's what it is. Bringing attention to colorism does not mean those of lighter skin tones do not deserve love or prosperity, but they should recognize the privilege that comes from their skin tone. Calling someone light-skinned is not an insult. It does not invalidate their blackness and the fact that they still face oppression at the hands of white supremacy. If speaking about colorism feels like a personal attack, you should address how you benefit from it. Colorism isn't just in the entertainment, it is in our education system, prison system, sororities, fraternities, beauty industry, and so much more. Colorism and desirability politics are deeply ingrained in every aspect of our society, and acknowledging that does not negate our collective fight against racism. He harassed her for 15 days. And he's still harassing her. Like I said, just 2 days ago, she posted something saying that he's on Facebook now, talking about her specifically. Not even, and the fact that Talib Kweli is defending himself. Listen to this. This is where it gets good. He's defending himself based on a relationship with a woman that he's cheating on and had another baby. Yes. 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 So, we're in conclusion. I hope that Megan gets her gets a therapist, and I hope that she's able to speak through and heal physically and mentally and emotionally from this traumatic event that happened to her at such a young age. The fact that she's trying to be strong. She can't really talk about who shot her or what, but we know he was shot. He was arrested with the gun charge. So we still have to say allegedly, because no one has been charged in the violence against her, right? I hope that she gets the support that she needs. There are a lot of people and fans out here and content creators and things like that who are supporting her and speaking about things like this, because it's not funny. Violence against women and black women, it's not funny. It's not, and I know that a part of our coping mechanisms as black people is to find the joke in something, but not when a woman is being shot. You know, it's not funny. It's not. And when you make jokes like that, you dehumanize us. You really do. It's like we're not humans, or she's this big Amazon, so whatever violence happened against her at the hands of a man is somehow okay because she's as big as, or she's bigger than him. He had a gun. And that's why we look at cops like unarmed people. How are you rationalize shooting someone who's unarmed? How do you rationalize that? It's the same exact thing, y'all. Where do you get that from? And then misgendering her, saying that she's a man and that's why he shot her. And if you don't see the parallels in how violence against trans women is happening, there it is. There it is. So somehow it's okay. I'm supposed to be going. Let me go. The Talib Kweli situation, again, this is another black woman who's being harassed. For almost a month, she's being harassed. No one has said anything. Not even the men that were in that tweet. No one has said anything. Dude, stop. So these are examples on what black women say. You know, I really don't like to keep proclaiming that black women are the most disrespected, the ones who are the most brutalized. But a lot of what you're seeing with Megan Thee Stallion and how the jokes are being made against her and violence, right? Violence against her. And I think we become desensitized, you know. Social media has a lot to do with that. Watching fights and seeing fights all the time. We all participate in that. And not all, a lot of us participate in that. Looking at people getting into fights and things like that. But I don't think that anything is funny about any of these instances. I don't think anything is funny about it. Chrissy Teigen made a joke. She came out and said sorry. Drea has apologized. Just hilarious. She wants a specific kind of attention, so more than likely she won't apologize. I don't know why she hasn't been starved in terms of the attention that she gets. I don't understand why. She really bothers me. Like she seriously, when I look at her, she really bothers me. She's anti-gay, anti-trans. She used the T word on somebody, used the F word on somebody. And it doesn't sit right with me. Just not hilarious. And AOC, that's an example. Like, it's black women, but it's also women too who are getting abused, accosted, cussed out, and there's no consequence, because someone said it, that men lack Men in this society, and this is why it's not when we're like, oh, choose better. No, this is a society that raises men. This is not just black men. This is all men are raised in the same society. Will you find your exceptions of men who do not fall into societal structure on how you should treat women? Yes, they are. They exist. Are some of and those men, even the men who commit violence against women, they can go off and get remarried. They can go off and have other partners, even if the woman knows, yes, I was in a domestic violence situation. I hit my son's mother in the mouth. I hit her with a closed fist in her face. They can still go off and get married. So without consequence, understand me, without consequence. So the society that raises men, they lack a community of accountability. There's no community for men to be held accountable for their actions or their violence or transgressions against women. And when you think about women being the people who populate the earth, you would think that you would treat those people with so much regard. Like, these are the bringers of life, the gatekeepers of your cultures, and yet and still violence against them is looked at as like a joke. It's really sad. It's really sad. I hope that, like I said, I hope this thing with Talib Kweli stops. It doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. But with Megan, I hope that she gets the help that she needs. To me, I feel like if you lived after being shot, you should tell it. I would tell it. I would tell it. I wouldn't care. I would not care. Like the same way I should not have cared when the cops showed up after I was abused. I should not have cared. I should have said, take him. Take him. Do whatever you want, because he committed violence against me. Obviously, my agency was violated and not taken into consideration, so I should not even extend the same amount of consideration to my abuser. Right? So someone who, and I am in a place now where I used to be like Megan. If y'all know, when I would talk about these things, I could not keep myself together. Now, I'm one who cry. I don't care about that. Like, I will cry, even though all my life is what you crying about. Why you crying? Crying ain't gonna fix it. You can't control things. Stop crying over things. That used to be what I would hear, because I'm a crybaby. I will cry. My tears, honey, you looked at as weak. I'd rather look at me as weak then, but I'm going to let this out, because if I don't, there might be blood on the walls. So let me cry. Let me get it out. Okay. But I do hope that everybody understands how we need to speak out against stuff like this for Black women and for women in general. Like again, like with AOC, she really laid it out exactly what it is. It really is a society that raises men to be, it's okay to talk to women crazy. It's in our music, right? It's like, it's okay. It's part of our culture to be abusive towards women and not really see a consequence. It's okay to be abusive towards children and not really see consequence. Go Google the average sentence on a rape charge. Google it and see how long somebody who commits sexual violence against women, see how on the average, how they're punished. Not much. Not much. The young man, what's his name? Brock Turner, who was raping that girl behind a trash bin. And the cops, the judge said, that boys will be boys, basically. We don't want to ruin his life. After he done left a stain on this woman. Child, we can go on for days and days and days. I have to stop talking now, because I can talk about this all day, because there's so many examples. So many examples. And one thing I want to say, if you don't see the parallels, I'm going to say it again. If you don't see the parallels between violence against black trans women and violence against cis black women, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Because for them to rationalize her being shot at by saying, oh, she must be trans, there's the violence. There it is right there. Anyways, y'all, take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments and we'll chat. Peace.